Hello everyone and welcome back to the Fantasy Football Fix YouTube channel. My name is Eddie, or FPL Phillips, and it's time for another episode of Eddie versus the Algorithm, the series where I'm taking on the computer's highest predicted point scoring team for each game week of the season, and then seeing if I can put it together my own free hit draft game week upon game week that is able to outscore that team 4 points. So far, it's been pretty even, Stevens. It was 2-2 going into last game week. I managed to come out on top in Game Week 5 by just the one single point. Having Luis Diaz in my team really did help with that. So let's have a look at Game Week 6 now, move on, have a look at the sides, and see who can get the point for Game Week 6. So, updated score at the bottom of your screen, now 3-2 to myself over the Algorithm, who's predicted to score 67 points this game week. I just wanted to say before we get into revealing the team that thank you very much for all the support on the series. It does mean a lot to know people are continuing to tune in every week and enjoy the weekly episodes. We've been doing it for over 2 seasons now, so I'm very, very happy. If anyone from that first season is still here watching, then special shout out to you. But yeah, drop a thumbs up on the video if you do appreciate it and you want to keep seeing these videos. That does mean an awful lot and does help us out getting these videos out to more and more people to hopefully help them enjoy them too. But let's get into the team anyway, which is lining up in a 3-4-3 formation this week. It's Robert Sanchez between the sticks for the Algorithm side. He's a pick that I really do like the look of, 4.5 million. It's between him and Flecken, I think, if you're on a wildcard 6 this week and want to go with a 4.5 million option. And now this will be more popular than maybe otherwise because of David Raya's injury rumours, this thigh injury, which could be serious, could not be serious. I predict that Raya will probably start against Leicester at home. I'm obviously not going to take the risk in a free hit team like this. If you're on a wild card, maybe you'd think against taking the risk as well, especially if you can get, you know, an Arsenal triple up who will start in your outfield, maybe with 2 defenders and a midfielder, or you want Havertz in alongside like a Saka and a Gabriel, then there is some appeal to going with someone like a Sanchez or a Flecken, in my view. The one thing I would say with Chelsea, and the one caveat, is that, yes, they've kept clean sheets so far, but they're coming to the end of their nicer run of fixtures. They have got some trickier ones to navigate, so whether or not you're looking at going for a rotation pairing with Sanchez, there are some that work. I think Chelsea and Nottingham Forest looks okay if you want to pick up Sells as another option. Historically, I think people are very against rotating goalkeepers for sometimes good reason. People have been hurt by it in the past, but it's still a viable strategy and we shouldn't really bury our head in the sand. It can work out for managers and it has done very, very well in the past. But if you're looking at Sanchez and just a 4.0 keeper and starting the Chelsea man every week, then you are going to have some trickier games coming up for the Blues, is what I would say. But for this week, he looks pretty good against Brighton, who have been, as usual, pretty mid-table for XG and expected goals conceded as well, for that matter. So, home game for Chelsea. If they perform in that one, then who knows? Maybe Sanchez could bring another clean sheet home. He's looked pretty good for them so far this season. In defence, we're going to see a double up on the Bournemouth backline, which isn't something I thought I'd be saying so early on in the season, but they've got a pretty nice home game against Southampton, who were looking very, very poor for XG until last game week, where they've looked okay. I think Tyler Dibling coming into that Southampton side has made a big, big difference. Just that bit of youth and energy coming into the team. Something like a Kobe Mainu came in last season, obviously completely different type of player, but just that player coming through into the side, lifting the squad a little bit, maybe might make the difference for Southampton. So I'm not overly confident of Bournemouth, keeping a clean sheet in this game against the Saints. But being at home will probably help for them. So Zabani and Kerkez are the 2 defenders of choice. I think last season's stats might be playing a bit into those picks. I know we've not really talked about Bournemouth defenders so much this season, and you can say I'm biased in the opposite direction, and I should be considering last season maybe more, and I'm biased because there's not been much talk about Bournemouth defenders in stuff that I'm looking at. But yeah, I just think that Bournemouth, do you want to back them this week? It's certainly the fixture to do so if you're going to pick any. I won't be having 2 Bournemouth defenders in my team. Well, I've already made it, but we'll see my side later on. One player that I will have in my team, and I'll spoil for you right now, is Gabriel. I am a big, big Gabriel supporter. I think you have to go for him if you're on a wildcard this week. I think if you don't own him and you're buying a defender, it makes a whole world of sense just to go for the Brazilian. He's the target of pretty much every corner that Arsenal are delivering. They've got this tactic where they block off the keeper, they do it in a way that doesn't concede a foul, and they get Gabriel pretty much a free header every time at that back post when Saka gets the corner right. So when you've got that system going on, having Saka and Gabriel in the team just seems like a loophole for points, really, or a very less well hidden loophole, I should say, in that everyone is going to know about it and more than likely own both the pair of them within a game week or two. So yeah, Gabriel, best defender in Arsenal until his minutes, if any point, look dodgy. I think everyone's going to own him for the course of this season, to be honest. In midfield, we've got 4 home fixtures coming up for Saka, Palmer, Semenyo and Mbeumo, and they're all pretty good ones as well when you look at expected goals conceded. These aren't strong defences in the league. You've got teams like West Ham United who have shipped big goals already. You've got Leicester and Southampton in the forms of 2 promoted teams. There aren't sides that are performing well defensively here, and then there's 4 home fixtures and 4 very talismanic players. Saka, Palmer, Semenyo and Mbeumo, I'd say are definitely all the midfield picks who are going to be the focus to try and get points from their respective teams. You've got 3 of them at least on penalties, Saka, Palmer and Mbeumo, and then Semenyo. A little bit of debate around whether he will be on them. Evan Nilsson took that first one and the only one that Bournemouth have earned so far this year. Rumours it might be Tavernier who takes the next one, or Cliver, I don't know. It might be Semenyo, it might end up being him. He's getting a fair amount of shots from open play anyway, so not sure he even needs to worry about those penalty kicks, and that's why I'll have him in my side as well, as you'll see in a moment. But I really do rate that midfield. And then up front, finally, we've got Haviland taking the captain's armband, as usual, really, and then he's alongside Havertz and Chris Wood. Now, Havertz is going to be a big talking point and a big decision for a lot of managers to make on the wild card. I think the more popular strategy will be to own double Arsenal defence, so in that way Havertz could offer you more of a differential option. I think what people are mainly thinking, myself included, is that with the Odegaard injury, that might hurt the Arsenal attack a bit. Odegaard might be likely to drop in and fill out a more role deeper in the side, like we saw from him at points last season, especially early on in the campaign. So that might hurt Havertz a bit and limit his points potential and his ceiling. So in that sense, I think going with that double Arsenal defence does seem to make more sense. And then Chris Wood, who we're just kind of calling here on the channel, and he's just the boring pick who's going to take over points. Fulham at home is a game that could have goals in it, could end up easily being a 0-0 as well, to be honest. I could see that happening. But Chris Wood for Nottingham Forest does seem to keep starting, does seem to keep getting decent minutes, is on penalties as well, which is where a decent chunk of his points this season already have come from. But I don't hate the pick at all, even if it doesn't sound that exciting to keep saying, oh yeah, Chris Wood's in the team out loud, or yeah, I own Chris Wood. It doesn't sound that cool, does it, really? But yeah, you do you. I'm not going to judge anyone for going for boring picks if they're delivering points here, for sure. On the bench then, finally, we've got Flecken down there, so 2 4.5 keepers. Do your thing, algorithm. Carvalho, Colwill, and Mikalenko. So really like those sub options as well, to be honest. 4.8 million for Carvalho. A very good price tag if he continues to keep starting for Brentford's nice fixture run. Makes a whole lot of sense to go with him. We've then got Colwill, who's looking like a pretty good 4.5 mil option if you're looking for that 4th, 3rd defender slot to go for, maybe in a rotation pairing or something like that. Then Colwill could certainly be your guy. Mikalenko, who I wouldn't be completely opposed to going to on a wildcard. He is at a much cheaper price point than he started the season at. I think he's dropped 0.2 million down to like 4.3 or something like that. So you could go for him. I just think that Everton defence right now isn't totally one worth backing. They have got a fair few injuries, which I've actually targeted in my team. Speaking of that, let's have a look at my side now and see how it compares. So I've done the boring thing and also captained Erling Haaland. We'll be discussing other captain options in just a second though, so stay tuned for that, or skip ahead to it on the timestamps if you can't be asked to see my team. But I've gone with Sells in goal, back in that Nottingham Forest defence has been performing okay so far this season. Then I've gone with the double Arsenal backlines. I obviously kept Gabriel and then gone with Saliba too. Alexander-Arnold is my pick in here for the Liverpool team. I did look at squeezing in Salah as well, who I actually quite favour. We've seen a lot of teams go to Molineux in recent years, even already this season, and absolutely hammer Wolves. I don't think being at home is particularly a good strength for them. So Trent's in my team to try and get at least some, hopefully, attacking returns from Liverpool players if they do well in that side. But yeah, I unfortunately just didn't have the budget to go with Salah and hold on to players like Saka as well. I have got Eze in my midfield alongside 3 of the others who were in the algorithm team. And then up front is where I've gone for a few more differential options. Nicholas Jackson, maybe not so much, given that he scored a brace last game week. He's going to be quite popular and talked about, but I'm not sure many managers will actually bite the bullet and own him going into this game. Chelsea, as I mentioned, are coming up to a more tricky set of fixtures than they've just gone through. Brighton at home is not too much of a difficult one, but they have got some tougher games coming up after that. That's why I'm targeting this game. I just think that he looks like a player who's very confident at the moment. Maybe he's finally finding his true feet in the Premier League. Granted, he might be early subs. You've got Nkunku coming on who can easily play in that position. If Chelsea are ahead by 2 goals, then I'm hoping he's already been involved in it at least once, so I'll be happy with the points nonetheless. But yeah, even if Chelsea are down or struggling in that match, I could see him coming off kind of early, so it is a bit of a risk. And then my real punt is Evanilson of Bournemouth, so I'm really backing the Cherries in this game against Southampton, going all in on them with double Bournemouth attack. I'm hoping that this man can finally come good. I rated him before he came to the Prem, and from what I've seen from him so far, he's just not living up to the potential. He's had chances. He should have put some away. I'm not sure a penalty miss is going to do wonders for his world of confidence, but I'm hoping this game will be the one where he can finally get, that goal, or maybe even 2, if I'm feeling greedy, under his belt, and finally hit the ground running in the Premier League. So yeah, that's my theory. That's what I'm going with. The rest of the money spent on bench upgrades. So Carvalho, still gone with Kanate, and then Militao just because I had some funds left over. But yeah, that is my side. Let me know in the comments, as usual. Do you think I'm going to outscore the algorithm or not? You can run your predictions for the season to see how many you can get right by commenting on each and every video. Then that helps out us for the algorithm and helps you kind of have some fun, play a game as well, I guess. But yeah, finally, let's have a talk about the captaincy and whether or not anyone can challenge Haaland for the armband this game week. So the candidates I've put up alongside Erling Haaland, Bukayo Saka, Cole Palmer and Mo Salah. So, the other real popular premium options in FPL right now. Haaland's ownership is just a bit of a joke. So if you're looking to go somewhat differential, you're going to have to go for someone else. Although Newcastle is listed as a red fixture on the FPL fixture ticket for City because it's an away game as well, I think they actually have the worst expected goals conceded of the bunch of all of these other 4, including Newcastle teams here. So Leicester, the second poorest defence, Wolves, 1.66 expected goals conceded per 90, and Brighton, the strongest backline of the 4. However, when you look at that data from Man City, 2.39 expected goals per 90 for them as a side, and then Erling Haaland's expected FPL points per 90 of 9.50, it just seems like, can you really back against him for this game week? Predicted points do say so. They've got Saka in at 7.0, equaling alongside Erling Haaland, with Palmer and Salah also tied for predictions, but a bit behind on 6.6 apiece. For me, I'm going to be captaining Erling Haaland this game week. If I was going to go for another option, it would probably be Bukayo Saka. If you only own Mo Salah or you own Salah and Saka, then you could definitely consider going for Salah as a big differential. I don't see it definitely happening that Haaland's going to score a goal this game week. I think there's probably going to be one week come along where he does blank in some time. It'll probably be a week none of us are expecting it, and maybe this is that game week. But I'm basing that on pure conjecture, pure gut feeling, and nothing statistical, really. But yeah, let me know who you guys are captaining if you've got a bit of a differential and you're not going for Haaland. I'm interested to hear about that. But yeah, otherwise, comment down below which of the 2 teams you thought was better. With that, I'm going to wrap up this week's episode of Eddie versus the Algorithm. I hope you guys have a good game week and a good weekend, and I hope your arrow ends up being green. And hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.